Hello. How's everybody? Hope everybody's good. Still a little bit early, but hope everybody's doing a-okay. Hello everybody. Yeah, we'll just get settled in. Let's see, right. Starting soon. Character study. We'll call it that. Character study. Character study? Character design study. I feel like that's a little bit more accurate. The little, in case people missed the XPPen workshop, that's what we did. Let's see. Finish the sketch of my parkour character today. Oh, nice, nice. That's awesome. I want to see it. Wait, did you post it, Quinn? I want to see it. Unless, oh, is that what the critique is? I did see that I got tagged, but I didn't see it. I didn't open it yet, but I guess that's what I got tagged in. Nice. Ooh. Oh, wait. Oh, that's based on the character on my screen, or not based on it, but inspired, I guess. Hey, that's cool. Oh, and the parkour is from it's from the camp. Oh my goodness. Wow, it took finally got a chance to work on it. Oh. Well, hello everybody who's slowly joining in. We will be starting shortly. We're still a little bit early, so just here to welcome people in, get settled and comfortable. I don't know. I feel like I'm a drink guy. Not that sounds maybe weird out of context, but I got myself a ginger drink. Now I was like, okay, I want to make the ginger drink with like milk because it's like an instant ginger tea drink. I don't think it's tea, but it's like a ginger honey drink. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna time the stream to how I need for how long it takes to boil milk. And I was like boiling the milk, but then I was like, oh, I got some extra time. I don't want to just sit here waiting for the milk to boil, so I'll just I'll clean my water bottle while I'm at it, because I don't know, my water bottle is getting a little gunky at the top because I put coffee in it. So I don't know if you guys know, but like the rubber stopper that's kind of lets you seal in like a thermos, I don't know, it gets a little gunky there if you don't like routinely or regularly clean it out. It gets a little, I don't know, it's like the calcium buildup or something. But yeah, I was like, okay, I'll clean that out while I wait for the milk to boil. And if you've never boiled milk before, milk boils really, really quickly. And yeah, it spilled a little bit over the the stove. And I was like, no, I gotta go on in like 5 minutes. So I should have given myself a little bit more time. I didn't properly set the time that it would take to boil milk to being, I don't know, comfortably ready for stream. So I had to like quickly clean up everything, ventilate the stove, and then rush down here and get the stream going. So yeah. But I mean the drink turned out fine. Drink turned out okay. It's interesting. Maybe a little bit too much milk. I might have put too much milk in my drink. When you were 9? Dang, whoa, migratory eagle. Well, thank you for keeping up with us for so long. Well, I don't know how old you are now, but I feel like I'm assuming that because you brought up 9, you're now a little older. But yeah. Oh, that would have been a kind of fun one to go over. Babar, King of that show has a special place in my heart. That's a nice, good childhood show. I don't think we're going that young or that like low in terms of the age group. You could probably see it a little bit. Oh, actually, no, my avatar is blocking it, so you guys can't fully see what we're gonna go over, but you could probably take a guess as to the type of shows we'll get into based on the layer group naming. Obviously, there's so many shows out there, and I only had so much time to gather as many images as I could for us to like kind of just look over and analyze and talk over and talk about. So yeah, but unfortunately, Babar would have been a kind of a cool one. I didn't think of that one. Yo, what I put out a post letting people know. It's like, hey, in the comments, let me know what shows you want to go over. But only a few of you guys posted something, so I took a few of the suggestions on comments. So there's some good ones though. Oh, also, Jiren asks, how often does everyone wash their water bottles? I wash it every day, but I don't wash the stopper every day because it's annoying to take out. Like some bottles are really easy to take that rubber stopper around the lid so condensation doesn't like build up in your bottles. But like the one that I have, it's stuck like in, it's not stuck, but it's like fitted really tightly in the cap. And so I need to take like a knife to like prop it out, and it's annoying. Sometimes it's really easy and simple, and other times it like does not want to pop out. So I'm just like, I get a little lazy doing it. But yeah, when I was cleaning, I was like, oh, I should have cleaned this way earlier. Uh, did I turn off? Oh yeah, don't worry. I turned off the stove. I just forgot to keep an eye on the milk before I went to clean my bottle. Well, I didn't like leave to clean my bottle. The stove is right next to the sink, or the sink is right next to the stove. So yeah, it was an easy run over to the stove, but I knew there was like a short time limit, and I didn't keep a careful eye on it. So oh well. My favorite childhood show is Villainous. Oh, I've never heard of that before. Also, I feel like, you guys had a missed opportunity where you could have introduced like some new shows to me. That would have been kind of cool. I honestly, there's some character sheets that popped up while I was doing research where I completely forgot, or like I had no idea what those shows were. Like I was seeing character model sheets from like other things, and I'm like, oh, are these real shows? Because if they're real shows, I feel like that'd be really cool. But I don't know. Hello, Jorsh. That's I kind of like that, Jorsh. Oh, it's a Mexican Cartoon Network show. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, even like it doesn't even have to be from like popular TV shows. It could be from like more obscure, maybe not obscure. Obscure maybe is not the right word, but like shows are less, a little underrated. Under the radar of like the common, more well-known TV shows. Would have been like good opportunity for sharing, but yeah. Okay, cool. Well, it's 9:02, so we're gonna start shortly. As you guys know, we do a little bit of like just the title card read, or yeah, I guess title card read or intro to our stream, and then we jump right into our session today. And in a way, the character on my screen right now, it is going to be related to what we're doing, because I was thinking of like, I'll take this character that I drew for XPPen like last week, and I will use it as the style challenge that we will do at the end of the stream. So yeah, I think it'll be kind of neat. So hello everybody, and welcome to our stream. If it's your first time joining us, welcome. My name is Josh, and I'm one of the instructors here at Wing Canvas. I teach the animation class as well as digital illustration, drawing, and painting, and currently I'm subbing for Faye for the drawing foundations. So if you ever want to, improve your drawing lessons, feel free to maybe check out my classes. The spring term is coming to an end, but we do have summer intensives starting very, very shortly in about, I think, 2 weeks. Yeah, somewhere around, I think, 2 weeks or so. And it's going to be character design first, followed by like animation and illustration courses. So if you have nothing to do during the summer and you're kind of itching to expand your drawing knowledge or abilities, feel free in checking out our summer intensives. But yeah, if you guys are also here for the first time and don't know who we are at Wing Canvas, our mission at Wing Canvas is to make art education easily accessible to everyone. Join us for free live stream lessons every week, because we're not just a YouTube channel, we're an online school of illustration, helping art nerds turn their passion into income. And shout out to our amazing students and members for supporting our mission, and we love seeing your incredible artwork and watching your skills improve in our classes and weekly critiques. And if you're an art nerd, be sure to join our Discord, where you can find our notes and artwork from streams, as well as our challenges and other resources to help you improve as an artist. So yeah, and also you might notice at the upper right side of my screen that this stream is sponsored. So we'd like to thank our sponsor for the stream, XPPen, who have an awesome selection of digital art tablets for both beginner and advanced artists. If you're looking for an affordable and reliable digital tablet, go browse their store. You'll find the link in the description of this video. So thank you, XPPen, for sponsoring this video. And and yeah, we'll just get started. Josh holding the fort down. I guess so. I don't know what part of the fort I'm holding down, but I guess I'm holding down the fort. Yeah, okay. So before we start the main event, as you guys know, at the start of all of our streams, we do a bit of an art challenge shout out. So if you guys don't know what that is, every month we have an art challenge prompt for our community on Discord. And for this month, it was Juvenile Mischief, I believe is what it's called. We like to do this because we like to shout our community, share the stuff that people have been drawing, and yeah, just kind of show our appreciation for the community out there. So we'll start off with our first piece here by Cyber. I don't know if I shouted out this artist before, but I don't know. I always find like comic strips always like funny. It's like a throwback to when I loved reading Calvin and Hobbes and everything, and so I thought this was pretty neat, pretty cool. If you guys want to take some time to, I don't know, read it really quickly or whatever, it is on Discord. It's under the art challenge section, and just simply click the chat for the June submissions, or I don't know if it's called chat, but like the extended, I don't know any of the terms for Discord, but you know what I'm saying. You can find it in the art challenge section in Juvenile Mischief. But this one's by Cyber, so really cool drawing. I really like the character designs, love the colors, this expression is great, I love it. Yeah, really love the character designs and the panels. And then the next one here, we have one by Mia D. And this person had an interesting factoid. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, they said, fun fact, the concept of a teenager wasn't really a thing until the 20th century, which is, I don't know if that's like a joke, like a play on a pun, or if this is an actual like fact, because I like how Gia also underneath it went, how did they name the ages 13 to 19 then? Which I thought it was kind of funny that you took a little jab there, Jaren. So, yeah, that's kind of funny. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I thought that you took that kind of concept and ran with it and designed or illustrated this cool little scenario here. So I thought it was kind of cool and kind of wholesome. So, yeah, wanted to give you a little shout out. Really like just the character designs and the poses here. So, yeah, thank you, Mia, for submitting for the art challenges. And then our last one here is by Den. And we got one of, I don't know, like an elf-looking character who seems to have stolen a dragon's egg, and the dragon is now chasing after the elf that's stolen the egg. And I thought it was really cool. It's even though it's like a bit more on the rough drawing side, I think the composition and the storytelling is great. So I was like, yeah, this is really cool too. And the horse, I guess this is a horse. I don't know what are the terminologies for like young baby horses or teen horses or whatever, but looks like a horse. I'm assuming it's a horse, but yeah, really well drawn. And the dragon looks really awesome too. Really love just the expression on it. So thank you everybody who submitted for the art challenge. I believe you have one more week. Let me see. You have this coming weekend. Oh, and the Monday. Yeah, you have the 28th and the 30th. Oh, wait. Are we... I actually don't know. Are we on the 30th? Because it's near Canada Day. So we are not on that week. Never mind. This was the last day to do the challenge submissions. So well, thank you everybody for submitting. So that was really cool. And I guess you can keep an eye out for next month, July, where we'll have like new challenges, because today is the last day. I didn't even realize it was the last day for the challenges, but yeah, because it's Canada Day on July 1st, so we are taking a break from streaming that week. But yeah, as always, thank you everybody for submitting. It's always awesome when you guys submit stuff and we get to share our appreciation for you. But then July will be a new challenge, so keep an eye out for what the new challenge. Oh, and then Art Fight starts. I know a lot of students tell me about Art Fight, and then I get too lazy to check it out, even though it sounds like a really cool thing. But yeah, so that's the art challenge, and we'll get into the main event, which is we're gonna go over character designs from like childhood animated TV shows. Now, obviously, I think Kevin was the one who pitched this idea to me. I thought it was like really cool, and then I realized that most of the shows that I know are from like not even the 90s. I wouldn't say from the 90s, but I feel like they're mostly from the 2000s, like early 2000s to like maybe mid 2000s, like 2007 and 8 or so. After that, I have lost track as to what kind of shows are out there. So most of these shows are a mixture of some of the stuff that we did want to talk about and go over, that me and Kevin kind of talked about, but then also some new shows that you guys recommended in the comments section as well. So if you guys didn't know, we post roughly maybe about a day or 2 days before the stream, and I posted mine around on Sunday, where I asked the community to share any cartoons they would like for me to go over, and some of you guys gave some like really awesome suggestions. So the first one that I saw, and I already love this show already. Like, I didn't see too much of it because if you guys didn't know, my parents child locked my TV, so I never really got to watch Teletoon, which was kind of like the Cartoon Network for Canada. And they had Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I got to see like a few episodes, and I always thought the character designs were cool. I mean, like, even the fact that I've only seen a few episodes, but the character designs and the concept of the show still sticks in my mind is a pretty cool testament to, I think, to the character designs themselves. So yeah, this is the first one we're gonna go over. If you didn't know what Foster's Home is, I guess it's like this really large mansion where a lot of these different characters, like creatures and monsters, kind of reside in, and there's this like little kid. Kevin, you can kind of correct me on that, whether I'm summarizing the show properly, but based on my memory of it, like, this kid essentially lives in this mansion where he has all these imaginary friends, and like Blue is one of his like best friends, I think. But yeah, I always love Close Enough. Okay, you know, I'll take that. This is also, you know, based on the fact that I only watched this show like 1 or 2 episodes. So stuff Foster's, I mean, exactly, the plot is in the title in itself, you know. Why'd I bother trying to over explain it? But I thought it would be kind of cool to grab a bunch of these character model sheets so that we can kind of see the evolution of the character designs. Now, obviously, when you kind of have character designs from like a network or a studio, it's going to be a collaborative process. You don't get to just have one person working on it, but clearly it seems like the art direction that was kind of going on for the show was to have it be playful, have it be like very quirky, weird shapes, and really embrace this more shape-like language. And what I mean by it is, like, what's kind of neat is if you go over into the final, like, this is what the show actually looks like. There's not a lot of line work. There's like some line work, but you'll notice that it's very little. It's very subtle, and most of the characters are defined by their shapes, and they're almost silhouettes rather than like detail line work and everything. So what that means too is that they're leaning way more into making sure that the body distribution and the weight distribution and the shape languages are really, really clear. So I think if anybody is ever curious or interested in learning about shape language and how they can push themselves to understand shape language and how to capture it in their designs, I highly do recommend Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, because they have a very unique way of approaching it, especially for the time. I think like nowadays we're more familiar and used to seeing character designs in this way, but at the time before this show and around this era as well, around like the early 2000s or so, a lot of character designs didn't exactly look like this until, you know, yeah, around that time, like mid 2000s. Most things were a bit more realistic, a little bit more more grounded, and then I feel like around the mid 2000s people started to really experiment and push with the shape and the forms of their characters. Let's see. The kid lives nearby but has to give off his imaginary friends away because his mom's mean, and then he just comes over every day. Really? Is that the plot? That's interesting. That's kind of dark. I feel like I guess a lot of kids shows are similar as well in that way. Hello, Opal Dagger. Glad you're able to drop by. But let's see. There was something. So what I think the way that I kind of want to approach this is that throughout all the shows that we're going to analyze, I'm going to try to see what are some interesting things that stand out for me for the designs of these characters. And then later on down the road, maybe around 10 o'clock, we'll try to do that style challenge where I take my character that was at the beginning of stream that you guys saw and try to implement the style and the design language that we can see here into my own designs. So with Foster's Home, I think what's really cool and stands out to me a lot is actually, I'm gonna group these first. Is the weight distribution in terms of the proportion. So whenever you guys are designing characters, try to I guess this is a technique, or not really a technique, but something that Steven Silver implements a lot in his character designs, which he always talks about not having a ladder system in your character design. So what this means is that your characters are, so these are things not to have. So it means your characters are too symmetrical. Your characters are too parallel. And then everything is too evenly distributed. So symmetrical, pretty straightforward. It means that both sides of the character's design are too even, and I would say that even when you pose the character and it's in the front pose, there's some element about the design that's a little bit too balanced. And if it's too balanced, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but if the character's too symmetrical, like to a fault, it can make the character feel a little bit dull or a little bit boring in terms of visually how the characters look. So it's always a good idea to try to break out of symmetry as best as you can, whether it's a design element in the clothing, maybe making the hair a little bit lopsided, or having the hair split in a certain way, or having the shoulders just sag in a different way as well. So those are just like some easy ways to break out of symmetry. The other one is parallel, and this can go both in this direction and down the ladder. So if your character is too symmetrical, it means that, like, again, the weight change or the pose of the character is just too rigid. Now, I would say that there's a little bit of more leniency if it's like, if it's like a model sheet where you need to draw the character very, very straightforward and just standing there looking right into the camera, then it's okay for it to be a bit more parallel. But if you're posing the character and the poses are just too parallel, then your character, again, can just look very stiff, very stale, losing a little bit of life in it. And then the last one is even distribution. And Even distribution, as you can see here, in the spaces in between the ladder, they're all very evenly distributed, which means, again, it makes the character just feel very stale and very kind of boring, very boring to look at. And so this is kind of like, I think the biggest takeaway from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends is that you'll notice that they love playing around with these big distribution of proportions. And nothing is parallel, or I would say that nothing is super parallel. You can even see in the body kind of expands a little bit outwards, and the head takes up almost like half the size for it, which is like really cool, because again, it makes it unusual. So even though I would say like our main character here is kind of broken into like these halves, and then you got another half around like the clothing area, but because the head is so big, and usually we put a lot of focus on the head, it really kind of takes us, I guess it takes us by surprise in terms of design. It kind of stands out a lot for us, makes it a little bit irregular, makes it interesting to look at. And so this is how they're playing around with distribution of proportions. So instead of the head being like this big, and then the body being this big, and then the legs over here, instead of having this distribution where everything is just evenly in thirds, which can feel a little bit boring, they instead made the head absolutely massive as well. So not just in terms of like the height, they also made it absolutely exaggerated in the width. So again, it just stands out, feels very different. And you can kind of see this idea implemented in almost, I would say, like pretty much everything, especially this guy. I don't know, this guy always stood out to me in terms of the design. And I guess this is also a good example of symmetry. For the most part, his body's actually quite symmetrical. The distribution of like the whiskers are symmetrical, like the legs are symmetrical, the placement of it is pretty symmetrical as well. But then you'll notice that, like, obviously the hands are not symmetrical, and the eyes are not symmetrical. And then something I kind of noticed just now is that there's like stitching on his like whiskers, but they're not symmetrical. So you can always start off somewhat symmetrical, which is totally fine, but find ways to always break out of that mold. And you can see that they found like subtle ways to do that, whether it's with the eye shape and like the stitching on the whiskers, and then obviously the biggest one is like the fact that he's missing like one arm and everything, which again, it helps to make the character more interesting, make the visually more I guess diverse in a way. But similar to our main character here, instead of relying on like, like I would say like the kid is top heavy. Our character here, I would say, is more bottom heavy in a way, because the head size is like this big, and then the body is this long. In terms of like the body takes up pretty much 90%, I would say, of the body proportion. So it doesn't mean that when you design characters that you have to follow this notion exactly, but I think it's more of like learning to be okay with making sure that your proportions are changing up and not everything is the same, like the head to the body to the pants to the feet and all that kind of stuff. But kind of find ways to maybe make some things slightly bigger or slightly longer and all that kind of stuff. And I think like the bird is like a cool one too. I always highly recommend this too to students, which is just find a picture of a character and just draw these cross-section lines and see what's actually happening with the distribution of proportion, because then you'll kind of start realizing it's like, oh, nothing's ever really cleanly laid out and everything. Like this guy, also really cool because he's like innately pretty round, but then they put like another circle inside, but then they break it up with these like smaller shapes and everything. Like he's overall pretty big, but then he has these smaller forms inside of his I guess his whole entire figure, essentially. So it's really cool. So these are kind of like my takeaways whenever I look at something like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, is that the character designs are very shape based, and they focus a lot more on like having very simple head shapes. You know, they're not doing anything crazy with like the eye sockets or the cheeks or anything like that. Like her head is pretty much an oval, and there's nothing really crazy about it. Yeah, even like the body, like it's really cool. It's essentially kind of like this, I don't know, this cylinder type shape over here. I wish I kind of found the picture of the rabbit butler, because there was a drawing done, I think, by Gendy Tartovsky, who kind of did a drawing of the rabbit butler, and it's a really cool breakdown showing that even though it looks very flat and almost like a paper cutout, there's actually a lot of form and perspective and volume implied in the characters, in all of the characters' designs, even though everything feels and looks very flat. So let me see if I can. Oh, yeah. So we'll use the kid as kind of like an example. So if we kind of just outline the kid's body is pretty like kind of geometrical, but you'll notice that there's actually a lot of form implied. I think, is it Gendy? Oh, I might be misremembering it, but I don't know if he worked on it. Maybe he didn't work on it, but yeah, there was a drawing done for the rabbit butler that's like really good. And I stored it somewhere, but I don't remember where I put it. I saved it in probably like a hard drive or something. But this is kind of what was shown on the butler's drawing, so I'm kind of like showing it here, which is that the body and distribution of like the proportions on this kid is pretty geometrical. It's pretty flat. But they do these really subtle things that seem very obvious to us looking at it, but it's much harder, it's easier said than done kind of thing, which is that they imply form and volume by placing like the fold of his clothing here, and they put the leg separation and breaks here. And you might be like, oh, well, Josh, that's not that big of a deal. Why is that so important? It's because that by putting those things there, we understand that there's a center line that's running through the form of the kid's body. And then not only that, but we can also see like they placed an arm here and there's an overlap. So even though the style of Foster's kid is very flat and it's almost like paper cutouts, kind of almost like origami or that kind of stuff, where when we look at origami flat or even just paper cutouts, it feels very flat. But by very smart placements of shapes and forms and overlaps, so overlaps would be like how this shoulder here is cutting in front of the body, it implies form. And this is actually something that is like super useful when you're doing kind of torso studies. So this is something I always demonstrate for like students who are just joining maybe like drawing and painting mentorship, or they're just learning about how to draw figures. An exercise that I always teach them is to draw just a random kind of block shape and play around with the center line. And where you decide to place the center line is like more important and super important in making the body feel like it's turning in different directions. So even if I draw the body in slightly different, like pretty much the same, but if I kind of place the body or the center line in these like interesting places, if I put the center line like here, it kind of implies that the body is like twisting. If I place it here, it implies that we're looking at it kind of at a 3/4 angle and it's bending back. And then if I put it more on the right over here, it looks like the body's crunching and folding in on itself. And that's kind of the important part that Foster's, I think, leans heavily into, is that even though they're using very simple blocky shapes that seem very flat and unimposing in a way, they're actually very meticulously placed, and so that it can still imply detail and form in the character designs. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, for Foster's home that I think I wanted to go over. Let me see. It is very common. I think it was definitely a very common trope to give characters very big heads, and especially for like kids TVs. I think it's just, one, makes animating really much easier, and it makes it easier for the studios to like draw and do like a head rotation and not have to worry too much about the nuances. But yeah. um I'm in balance. Balance is a principle. Yeah, definitely. Balance is definitely a big principle in design, making sure that you don't make things too lopsided. Gives them it also, yeah, bigger expressions. Make expressions way easier to do as well. Okay, the next one is Samurai Jack. I love Samurai Jack. Actually, I think Samurai Jack is like a super hard style to um learn how to do, which is always funny because I think a lot of people, especially people who aren't in art, kind of look at things like Foster's Home and Samurai Jack and don't realize how much work goes into something as simple as this. Because to us, we look at it and we're like, oh yeah, it's just like these flat shapes and everything. But in order to learn this, you almost have to learn how to work backwards in a way. And so I always like look at Samurai Jack's approach and I'm just like, man, it's so unique. Like I would also say that the way they go about solving design problems is also super interesting and unique because if you've ever done, or I guess if for anyone who's learning how to do character designs or just exploring and just having fun drawing characters, and if you've ever tried to jump into another style that's completely opposite from your own, you won't really know or realize how hard it is to just randomly jump to the opposite side of the character design spectrum. So I'm someone who is more on the realistic side, and I would say that whenever I try to jump into a more cartoonier character style, I find it like at first it starts off pretty easy, but then I start noticing certain like weird things happening with the proportions on the faces. And I'm like, the face doesn't look really cool. Or like something's kind of off about where the eye is or where the nose is. And I'll try to fix it, but it's not really working. And then I'll like try to start adjusting and tweaking it more and more, and to a point where it gets to a point where it just looks like a realistic drawing. So I always kind of like have a huge respect for more stylized, cartoonier drawings because it really takes a lot of effort to kind of almost unlearn everything that you've learned about realism and find a new design language to capture and to get across. And like I definitely do think like Aku is one of them, where it's just like it's such a well rotated character, but I don't think they're heavily or super overly relying on like three-dimensional forms. Like you'll notice that the crown around his head should technically, I think, be a really hard thing to rotate, but they do these really neat simple tricks of just like not actually rotating his, I guess, his horns, but instead all they do is angle the bottom one up and raise this one a little bit higher. But I think like the overall form and shape of them don't actually really change too much. Even the spacing inside, I guess they minimize that a little bit. It seems like they tucked in those horns a little bit, but they don't actually really do anything with it. They don't actually like fully change it because he's flat. He's a paper cutout style type of a character design, and I think they do the same thing here. But I will say, if you've ever kind of been curious as to like how did they animate flatter characters back in the day, like what you'll realize is like they don't actually rotate them. They just cut right to the next angle, or they cut the camera from one character and then back to another and then change the angle in the cut, so that this way they don't actually have to do a smooth proper character head turn, but instead rely more on like camera tricks or editing tricks, or just quick action speeds, because a character like Aku, technically the three-dimensional forms wouldn't really work, but they rely on shortcuts and kind of like just like what Jaren said, character rotation hacks. And that's kind of what it is. If you ever look at Kim Possible and you watch the show and don't pay attention to the story, but just pay attention to the character head angles that every character has, you'll notice that they very rarely ever rotate the characters' faces. Like most of the characters' faces are always like this. Like I'm drawing a very bad rendition of it, but it's very rounded, and then like the ears are over here. And what's kind of neat is that this kind of looks like a 3/4 angle, but it's not a 3/4 angle. But then it means that when the characters are looking forwards into the camera, they can use this angle. If the characters are looking off to the side, talking to another character, they can also use this head angle. So they don't actually have to rotate the head. They just have one character angle, face angle, and all they have to do is just animate the mouth, and that's it. And as when I noticed that, I was like, wait, that's kind of that's like a cheat right there. They don't have to animate anything. They just have to animate the eyes, and maybe not even the eyes. They just have to animate the mouth, and that's it. So it's really cool. But it's like finding these little bits of shortcuts that it's not like it's hard. It's easier said than done. It's like we all appreciate now because we have we have exposure to it and we've seen it. But I can't imagine what it was like back then to kind of find out these shortcuts or discover them, which I think is like always really cool. But yeah, I saw some people asking in chat like, who is this? Yes, this is the quote-unquote daughters of Aku, who are like assassins sent to take out Samurai Jack. I'm not going to spoil it in case anybody wants to check out the last season of Samurai Jack. I highly recommend it. It's like really, really good, especially the first like 3 episodes are like so well done. Super, super good. Yeah, no, don't worry, no spoilers. And even like, the whole Daughters of Aku, it's not like a spoiler. It's like shown in the first episode and everything. So if you've not watched the last season, I highly, highly recommend go watch the last season. It's like really, I would say it's pretty good. Some people thought the ending was okay, but I don't know. I really liked it. But yeah, this is the design. Always very similar to Foster's Home, like very simple shapes, but it's about knowing where to place them and understanding, or like I guess it's the character designers having a very good understanding of how to rotate and simplify the forms. So like if I look at the body, like I could see that it's just like it's like this super, super thin tube that's kind of running across, and then they expand it for like the shoulders and the arms, but everything is like pretty much a stick essentially. And I think like the cool thing about Cartoon Network, especially back in the days, is like it's a very clear reliance on shape and then knowing how to take advantage of those simplified shapes and everything. And like playing around with silhouettes, playing around with like how do you make these forms and poses really, really clear while still maintaining the character's kind of identity in a sense. And like when I look at these, I could clearly see they paid a very clear attention to the negative and positive space. So if you don't know what positive and negative spaces are, this would be the positive space. Everything inside is considered a positive space, and then everything outside is considered a negative space. And I would say that whenever you're doing whatever you're doing, actually, whether it's observational drawing or character design, it's always a very, very good idea to pay attention to both of these elements and see whether they're working with each other or not. And I would say that to me, it seems like Samurai Jack paid a lot of attention to the positive and negative space. So it's not just about how cool the characters are and whether the characters feel anatomically correct. It's like, yeah, that's part of I think what they're focused on. But for me, when I look at these, I'm like, it's about having these really strong shapes and that have a really clear silhouette and understanding of the gestures, but then also having a very clear positive and negative space so that even if you don't see too much detail, it's very clear as to like what the pose is and what the hands are doing, because the characters are so low in detail. I think it's like from far away from the TV, you should still be able to understand the pose and and what they're doing. And I think that's kind of probably the biggest standout and the striking thing about Samurai Jack are the silhouettes of it. And these are really cool. Also, at the end of our stream, we always post the notes and post the drawings that we do afterwards. So I will be posting all these images, like not necessarily maybe my notes, but I will be posting all of these that I found online. And so if you want to check them out and take a look at them, use them as inspiration boards or whatever style boards, definitely feel free to save them afterwards. Yeah. He'll be posting it with his notes. No, what? What's happening in different chat? Oh, for me, I bought the whole season on Apple. This was before Apple TV was like a thing. So what was it? I bought the whole entire last season of Samurai Jack. I think it was like $20 for the whole season, and yeah, I just whenever I want to watch it, I just watch it on my MacBook. uh, what did I say? I'm gonna be posting these notes, these images. Not stream, Josh. Wait, what's happening? I'm so confused. Okay, well, whatever. We have like 20 minutes. We got a few more to go over. I won't go into all of them too in depth, but this was one from our childhood. I think this is the one that kind of got this stream topic started, which is Codename Kids Next Door. I think I mentioned it one time on stream one day, and Kevin was like, yo, would you want to do a Codename Kids, like, I don't know, stream or something? And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind that. But yeah, if you guys don't know, also I watched this a little bit. I actually am the only reason why I'm familiar with this is because Cartoon Network used to have a website, and they would have like what are the flash games. They would have flash games of all their shows on their website, and the only one that I enjoyed playing was the Codename Kids one. The Samurai Jack was like a platformer action game, and it was like super hard. There was a Scooby-Doo kind of one that was also so hard. Because, okay, it's a little bit of a tangent, but basically, you're guiding Scooby-Doo through a haunted mansion, and you would like find things that you can kind of collect. So you might see like a key, so you click the key and it goes into your like inventory. You see a book and you click on the book and it'll go into your inventory. But as Scooby is walking through the mansion, there's like ghosts hidden throughout the path, and you have to protect or I guess scare away the ghosts so that Scooby doesn't get scared, or else he runs away and you fail the game. So you have to make sure that you clicked all the right items, and make sure you use the correct items to either scare away the ghosts or protect Scooby from the ghosts. And oh my goodness, it was so hard, because you just be like, how are you supposed to know what items are clickable? Because they're not easy to tell which are like clickable or not. They're not like colored differently, or they're not like shaded differently. And then you also don't know like what item is supposed to be used for which ghost or which event. And it was so hard. I never made it anywhere close to finishing it. So the only game that I ever played successfully was the Codename Kids Next Door game. That was like a shoot 'em up kind of a game. So that was fun. I like that one. That one I could deal with. But that's really all. Because again, I couldn't really watch the shows because my parents blocked the channel that you could watch the show on. So honestly, my knowledge of this show comes from the flash games from the Cartoon Network website, which I'm pretty sure is not the same anymore, and you can't play those games. Or at least maybe you can. I don't know. I'm surprised some of you know about those games. Like Quinn, you've played those? That's crazy. But that's cool. At least somebody remembers those games. But yeah, I've always loved the designs as well. Again, I guess, going back to the whole big heads kind of, I guess, cliche of 2000s character designs. But I think, it's a tried and true design language. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. It just makes characters stand out so easily. And I will say, if you've never animated before, animating a character with a large head is actually so much easier than trying to animate something that's more realistic. Even if it's like just slightly like, even a head that's like this is kind of hard to animate. So even if I drew a character that looked like this, but had like a little bit of a cheekbone and a little bit of a brow and a bit of a nose and a bit of a jaw, even this is very cartoony. This is already like kind of hard to draw because now you have to make sure all of these tiny subtle changes in the form of the face are consistent throughout the entire series and throughout the entire production line, and making sure every animator is on the same page, the style stays consistent. So I would actually say that probably the biggest reason as to why the big heads thing was like a big deal is, one, yes, it's easier to draw. The expressions are also much more easier to convey on screen, but it's just really easy to animate. Like, I can imagine already just animating these heads being so easy to do because the design language is all the same, and all you had to really do is make sure that you get these big melon looking heads. Oh my goodness, now that I mentioned melon, I can't believe we never did like Hey Arnold. Like, nobody brought up Hey Arnold. I didn't think of grabbing like Hey Arnold for the stream, but that would have been a good one. But either way, I guess all we have is really just this one. But yeah, these ones are just so playful. I actually, this is an interesting one because I think it was during the XPPen workshop where someone asked, how can you draw characters and like make poses interesting for their characters? And I think maybe this is a good one to get into different personality traits to let you know what characters or how the characters should be posing, because this is kind of my big problem with a lot of maybe early maybe yeah, I guess like early character designers, is that whenever we do facial expressions or character poses, we all kind of make them the same, and that's the problem. The characters should be different. They shouldn't all be the same. And I think this is a kind of like a good example of one where the poses of all of these kids are different, but they're different because it's based on their personalities. So like number one is the leader. I think I forgot what number is this one, but like the girl in the green, she's kind of a little bit goofier. She's a little bit more like goofy in a way. And then you got this like more cooler, aloof kind of character. I can't remember, but I think the red-hatted one was a little bit more like serious and gadgety in a way, I think. But like, I feel like even if I don't know what the numbers are, oh, Guy's here to help share some Codename Kids lore. Yeah, share it, because I'm not too familiar, but yeah, Guy, if you're more familiar, feel free to share. But I think this is a good one if you know what the characters, or I guess in a way, what I'm trying to say is like, if you don't, even if you don't know the personality traits of the characters, like from watching the show, I think you can kind of get an idea what these characters are like based on their expressions, based on their poses, based on the colors of their outfit. And I would say like design poses that match the character's personality. That's why it's so important to come up with the character traits, the personality, and the backstory of the characters before you necessarily go all in on designing the character. Hello, hey Ella, or yeah, glad you're able to join us. But yeah, I thought these were like really cool. So we're definitely gonna do the style challenge with this one. I think it'll be really neat. Okay, this one I did this purely for myself. I love 16. If you have not watched 16 or their spin-off show, it's not really a spin-off show, but it's kind of like a spin-off show. It's called Stoked. Now, I didn't have Teletoon, but some good soul out there uploaded all the episodes on YouTube when I was in high school, and I got to watch the whole thing, and it was like perfect because it was like a group of teenagers graduating from high school while I was also graduating from high school. Oh yeah, so this is the same studio that worked on Total Drama Island, but not Total Drama Island. It's just like a wholesome. So it's like 16 is based on like these high school kids who are just chilling at the mall, and you're just watching them get into like, I guess, a bunch of mischief and shenanigans. And then Stoked is about like these kids who got a summer job in this resort. I think it's supposed to be set in Vancouver or Victoria, BC. And it's these high school kids who got a summer job in this surfing resort, and you're basically watching them also go through a bunch of shenanigans and drama in this resort and all that kind of stuff. So I love both these shows, and I think it's like, again, really awesome to see these like really unique body languages. I remember the first time seeing Stoked, and I was just like, what is this body shape that this guy has? I forgot his name, but I was just like, dude, look at the length of this abdomen. It is absolutely long. And like, look at those like lats are like all the way here. But what's cool is, again, animation is hard. So you gotta make sure that like the animation language is kind of consistent and clear throughout the whole entire thing. Ah, yes, Reef. Yeah. And actually, that's funny. Leia Lo, I think Lo is one of the characters' names. I think this is Lo. And I forgot what the other characters' names are. But I always found it kind of neat that the characters here had like really long, just like torsos and really wide shoulders and everything. And like these just abnormally long, thick necks. Like what is up with everybody's necks? It's kind of crazy. But I always love this show. I think there's some like kind of neat character design and language with it. And I guess it's very similar to Foster's, where there's no outlines. Well, there's some outlines, but it's very distinct, but with these like big head shapes. Again, this kind of like pseudo 3/4 but not quite 3/4 kind of face head angle, so they don't have to animate too much. They just have to make their mouths move and their body move and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I guess, yeah, so 16 and Stoked was more Canadian, so there might be a chance that you might not have seen this in the States. But I don't know. I feel like most people knew what 16 was, or at least in my generation. Stoked, I don't really know, not too much about if Stoked kind of got aired overseas, but yeah, the 16, Stoked, Total Drama Island, they're from a Canadian studio, I'm pretty sure. So there's a chance that it might not have aired in the States too much, but yeah, I love 16. This 16 is a classic. And but yeah, I just love the head shape design and the long necks, the very rectangular, very like lanky body shape. It's very just like easy to draw, very easy to kind of identify. So it doesn't seem like it stands out too much, but it's kind of neat because you can, the moment I saw Stoked, it was like very obvious that they're from the same studio, even though I would say that there's nothing really strong or as identifiable in terms of like a style compared to like Samurai Jack, but it's still like noticeable in a way. So I thought that was kind of cool, but I just wanted to mention it. Oh, okay, and then there was Ben 10. So I took this suggestion from the comments because someone was like, oh, can you do like Ben 10? I was like, oh, okay, sure. I mean, I wouldn't mind taking a look at it. So Ben 10 kind of came out at a part in my life where I started to not watch cartoons, so, or like kids TV shows. So I don't know anything about Ben 10, but I like know of it, but I don't know anything about Ben 10. But from the looks of it, it's very reminiscent of like, I don't know if you guys ever watched those like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, not the like the old one, the 2000 one. This style kind of reminds me of it, kind of very reminiscent of like Bruce Timm, Batman, or like Justice League era. Yeah, was it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the more edgy, darker one, that came out around the mid 2000s. Yeah, is it TMNT show? I think it's 2003. Yeah, a little Batman Beyond-ish, little Teen Titans kind of vibe. Like, I feel like Ben 10 fits that mold and that style a little bit more. And the reason why I say that is because like the faces are a little bit more realistic. The body proportions, again, definitely lean more realistic. The muscle groupings, the separation of like the muscle groups and the body proportions, a lot more realistic. And you'll notice that they have more angles to distinguish the characters in different angles. Or that I just repeated the same word, but they have more variations in the characters' rotations. Whereas if you noticed in like the other shows that we talked about, there might only be like one or two to show the 3/4 and then a side angle, and that might be it. Whereas this one, they have a fully fleshed out character rotation that might not always be available, whether style or budget wise for the show. So it's kind of neat that this one is like way more realized and way more realistic in a way, which is kind of surprising. Also, like how chunky everybody is. I never noticed like the style for Ben 10. Everybody has like a very chunky look, chunky vibe to them. Like this separation in the arm, or was it this guy, uncle or grandpa character? Like these like very jaggedy. I think this is why it feels a little bit like Bruce Timm, a little bit Batman Beyondish, because you have these very just jaggedy shapes. And what's kind of cool is the use of contrast. So they have angles, and then the contrasting opposing side is flat and it's smooth. So it's jaggedy, angular, smooth on the other side. It's like, again, you can kind of see it like smooth and then jaggedy and like more dynamic in the angles. And again, this is just another way of implying and kind of showing volume and shape without being too heavy-handed with it, but also allowing for that more simplistic graphic nature in the designs. Yeah, you can also kind of see them. I'm assuming this is Ben, but it's like smoother, and then there's like a differentiation in shape. Now, don't take that as like a be-all end-all kind of rule. Obviously, like this can change, and it's not like everything has to be in this way. But it's kind of neat to notice it. And this is also just a general rule in design, as well as just like if you have a straight line on one side, kind of make it so that you have contrasting forms and sharper angles on another to make it more interesting. You don't know any? No, I don't know anything about Ben 10. Like I know zip nothing. Oh, actually, yeah, that's true. Quinn, you have your stuff definitely. Now that you say it, I don't know why it never clicked to me that your stuff fits more Ben 10 than like Danny Phantom or Bruce Timm style, like that shape language, that jaggedy geometric style. Yeah, it definitely looks way more like Ben 10. Yeah, is Iggy the Ben 10 lore master? Yeah, I'm all down for it. But yeah, that's Ben 10. Again, not gonna dive too much into it. And then the last one that I want to go into, which is one that I love. I love the style of Bruce Timm and the Batman the animated series, because this is kind of like what I would love to aspire for my style to be able to reach, because it's like it's very simple and it's very graphic, but it's so well realized. There's so much dimension that is hidden inside all of these shapes. So Bruce Timm is one of those, or even just in general, the Justice League, Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond style. Everything feels very flat and kind of graphic, but there's actually so much form happening underneath. And it's all through implications. So if you guys didn't know, there's a general rule for just drawing in general. It's not limited to just character designs. It's called the T overlap. And what the T overlap is if I have, like, let's say this pillow, like I draw this pillow over here, and I don't take into consideration of any overlaps, like no overlap at all, and I just have a flat outlined pillow, then the pillow looks very, very flat and it lacks any kind of dimension. We can kind of get away with it with like maybe, you know, like this ear being a little bit higher and this one be a little bit flatter down here and this one sloping up, but it really doesn't say too much about the form. But if I, let's say, do something like this instead, now I'm kind of exaggerating it a little bit, but you'll notice now that if I have these little bits of bending, and these overlaps here, the pillow now has more form to it. You can kind of understand, it's like, oh, because there's an overlap here, the ear of this pillow is probably most likely behind the body of the pillow. Oh, because there's an overlap here, then that means that the ear is in front of the side of the pillow. And because, again, overlap here, this ear is behind it. This is what we call the T overlap, because they kind of look like the letter T. It looks like this, or like this. There's a bunch of T's throughout the drawing. And it's always a good idea to have T overlaps so that you are implying form and perspective without having to be very, very overt at showing it. And you can kind of notice it sometimes very clearly throughout the entire piece. Some of them way more obvious than others. I would say that forms that require a very obvious form of the T overlap would be on folds. So you can see there's one like here on the fold of Penguin's kind of sleeve in the elbow area, but it's also very useful to separate different elements so things don't all of a sudden align miraculously. So imagine if this jacket went like this and ended over here. It would kind of connect with the pants, and that would just look bad. That wouldn't look really, it just wouldn't look good. So it seems like a very simple thing, but just by having this jacket be here and then there be an overlap here is an intentional design and an intentional kind of decision by the designers to make sure that all these things are clearly separated and there's enough space and breathability between all these elements so that you understand what's overlapping, what's kind of cutting in front, and what's in front and what's behind, and also what elements are separate from each other. Even it doesn't have to be also a perfect 90-degree T. It could be something like this where it's like clear, or it can be something that's a bit more like over the top kind of thing. Now obviously the more realistic the drawing, it doesn't have to be, you know, that that obvious. Sometimes you're just gonna have things that overlap a little bit, but whenever you're doing poses, try to make the T overlaps as obvious and noticeable as you can. And try to be aware of them as you're designing your characters. So that's kind of what I've always loved about Bruce Timm's styles. Like, it's very deceptively simple, but it's not actually as simple as you think it is, or how most people will think it is. Like the design of Mr. Freeze is like, oh, one of like the such a cool design and so well like realized that I don't think people understand how three-dimensional the characters are. If people are kind of don't realize how like three-dimensionally realized and defined the characters are, go on a website called Mondo. They release these kind of small scale figurines from like the X-Men, the animated series, like X-Men 93, and then Batman, also Batman the animated series. They released figures for Batman Beyond, for Mr. Freeze, for Harley Quinn, and they are sculpted really, really well, but it still maintains the kind of almost the flatness of Bruce Timm's style. So it's like really, really cool. Is it noticeable? I can't seem to remember any difference for some reason. I think it's more of like the face designs kind of changed throughout the show over time. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of like what I love about the BTAS style is like it's simple, but it's actually there's a lot of form kind of lying underneath all of these figures. Like you can kind of gauge how Bruce's body is turning, even though it's like this flat geometrical shape. It's very, very defined. And everything is very, very cylindrical. It's using these almost like, well, I guess that's kind of why they leaned into it, like very Art Deco-y kind of shape languages. A lot of prisms, a lot of cylinders, a lot of these like just basic geometrical shapes. And what's kind of cool is that like even though there's no outlines, you can still draw through them and everything lines up. The shoulders, the sleeves, the armpit area, the rib cage, everything is there, and but it's not like in your face. And that I think is why like I just love Bruce Timm's style. It's like really, really well understood. Like the character anatomy is very, very well realized, but it doesn't look like it, and that's the cool part. Okay, so with that being said, I think that those are all the characters that I wanted to talk about, or kind of just like share and kind of analyze. Now we're gonna take this character that I drew during the XPPen workshop, and we're going to try to draw some of them draw my character into some of the styles that we went over. Now we might probably not going to have time to do all of them, and we're probably going to keep the cleanup of it like pretty quickly, pretty like short, so we don't spend too much time on each style. But yeah. Oh my goodness. Superman's chin. Okay, so Spider-Man. Yeah, I did think of like checking out Spider-Man, but this honestly, like if you guys want, we could do a second like follow-up stream where we tackle more shows and we do more style studies, because I'm down for it. I think it'd be really cool. Okay, so obviously, I think to start it off, I think it would be a good idea to do a Codename Kids Next Door style. I think it just makes sense since that's kind of what kicked this off and everything. So, okay, let me see how I want to go about this. Let's see, Codename Kids. Turn these off. Okay, and I'm gonna try to draw this as best as I can. Gotta use a big brush. Yeah. Okay. Oh, hey. Hello, Pedro. Jao, Pedro. I'm gonna butchering your name. Oh, is this JP? Ah, okay, okay. Hey, JP. I was gonna be like, oh, man, I do not know. I will not know how to pronounce that name. That's gonna be bad. Okay, so definitely want to get that big round head. And because the Codename Kids Next Door art style is a little bit more simplified, I think, with the head angles, they don't have a full range of head motion. We're going to kind of follow those similar rules, create a melon-like head. And then, let's see, mine is turning this way. So maybe we'll take a little bit of inspiration from this one. Kind of rotate it down, maybe. Just have the hair go like that. I don't know how well this will come out, because I just realized there's no character here that has like their hair tied up in any way. So we'll see how well that comes through, or how well I could pull it off. Also, I don't know what the eyes look like. Let me see. Is there any sample? I feel like most of them just have... Yeah, it's this simplified eye shape that they have. They don't really have like a full... Oops. They don't have like a full kind of eye range kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe we'll just go with like something like that. Like much smaller. Smaller. Obviously, we will do this as best as I can, but obviously it's gonna be quite limited. And I think, you know, with Codename Kids, I think I gotta keep it more more playful. You know, I gotta keep the playful element of it down. See in the comments so it doesn't get lost in this live chat. Oh yeah. Number 5 as a reference. Yeah, maybe. Well, the problem is like I'm assuming. Wait, which one's number 5? We're gonna have to go back to that whole thing. It's like I have not watched this show before. We have it go like this, maybe. Have a little break in the shapes. I don't know if this will look weird. This might look weird, but I don't know. Also, cartoon faces. Something that I've noticed is that their ears are always like almost near right next to the eyes. So that's something that I'm like always noticing. And let's see. Let's make that shape more obvious. Maybe a bigger shape? Bigger shape for the hair? Maybe? With the pink cap? Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, okay, so the problem with like the using number 5 as a reference is that I can't see where like the hairline. That's what I wanted to see, is like how do they approach hairlines? That's kind of like the big question. Okay, and then the body seems to be more tube-like. Okay, my body is like this way. So we're gonna go for a more tube-like body. And let's see, not really too much for the shoulders, so just like a simple shoulder, I think. And then we'll do the big sleeve here. And no, oh, they have like these massive rolls, so maybe I'll do the same thing. You got these massive rolls for the sleeves, so we'll do the same thing. These big puffy kind of sweater. Anybody wearing sweats? Let's see. Let's turn on the other image. Anyone? Oh, he's wearing sweats. Okay. It's just big and rolly. Big and rolly is the name of the game, it seems like, for this. Okay, I don't need this one anymore. Oh no, did I draw them? Wait. Oh, I drew them on different layers. Whoops. They don't. Yeah, they don't have any kind. That was a cover-up. Nice. Google Sonya number 83. I guess kinda. A&D. Is there... Oh, interesting. Okay. That's a pretty good reference. I guess. We'll see. We'll see. Big, and then okay, the pants. Pants we're definitely just gonna keep it nice and loose, and baggy. I don't think I had any kind of. Did I have any elements? Oh, the pockets. Yeah, so the little changes in the sides, those are actually pockets. Well, kind of pockets. And then the shoes. Oh, shoes are gonna be a tough one. Let me see. Well, this one would be front facing. And then this one. So because we have limited time, I'm not gonna spend too much time trying to figure out the shoes. Something like this, I think. This one kind of makes sense. Let's see. Fingers. Oh, we got the nice cartoony fingers. Let me see. How long are the hands supposed to be? I feel like that looks pretty good. I feel like I just did like a Spider-Man pose. Okay, we'll do something like this. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Probably not. With how this is going. I think that looks okay. Oh, the moon. Oh, that's so sick. Moon base. The peace sign. Oh, true. You know, I think to make it simpler, let's just have it be a finger point. I think it'll be easier if it was just like a finger point, just pointing down, pointing over. Okay, I think this is like okay. This is not too bad. Maybe I'll have just like that split there because they're a little bit more simpler with the shapes. My goal for if I were to try to replicate this is to not overcomplicate the forms too much and rely on these more big rounded shapes that are there. Okay, let's see. Gonna try to draw it as best as I can. Yeah, if anybody has any suggestions on the next one we can tackle, feel free to recommend it. I do see Quinn, you wanted me to try out Ben 10 maybe, but yeah, I wouldn't mind. Ben 10 might be a little bit harder for me to try to do, but I wouldn't mind. Like her so far? Oh, thanks. Yeah, the hair is kind of, I think, the biggest struggle point, knowing where to put the hair. Also, the little like hair bits here. I'm like, I don't know how they would have approached it in the show. Like if they had a character with hair like this coming out, I'm like, how would they go about it? Don't know. Let me see. How did I? Oh, just again. They don't really have eyebrows too much. Well, they kind of have eyebrows, but not really. I feel like they're not really too much eyebrows going off. Like, now I'm trying to check. Do they have eyebrows? I think they do have eyebrows. It's a little bit more... It's a little bit subtle, so, with the eyebrows. They do have them. It does seem like they do have eyebrows, but they're just lines. So we'll add them as best as we can. Give her a little bit more of a dazed look. Also, nose position. Maybe I lowered the nose a bit too much. Nose maybe like here. And then seems like the girl characters have like a little eyelash bump to them, but something like that. Something like that. Oh, I realized I don't know what to do. Like the head might be a bit too big. We'll shave down the head a little bit. Move the ear like here. My character does have earrings, but we'll just simplify it again, because I think simplification is the name of the game for this one. And yeah, I guess that's okay. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think that looks okay. It looks not too bad. So this is kind of what I mean when it comes to like, if your style is more realistic and then you jump into something more cartoony, these are things that you're gonna have to kind of, in a way, break out of to kind of figure out on your own as to how it would work. Things like positioning of the ears, where the hair would be, because if you did this realistically, the simple answer would be, oh, well, it should be this far away, or like the eyes need to be this close to one another. But when you draw more cartoony, you can't really rely on those gut instincts that you might have. You kind of have to go about it differently and be like, oh, well, that's not the style, so I can't actually have it be there. It has to be somewhere else. And so you have to kind of look at the style that you're kind of following and kind of stay true to the design language of that, you know, style that you're trying to follow along and copy. Because if I was trying to trust in my realistic gut instincts, it would have told me, it's like, oh, eyebrows too close, you gotta move it, or the ears are too close, or the shape of that hair doesn't really make any sense. But in a way, I have to kind of ignore those instincts and kind of go with, in a way, I guess cartoon design is a simplifying, and it's a bit more, not just simplifying, but it's almost like graphic design. So it's more about like the forms and like whether those forms look good, and whether it's clear or not. You don't trust your instincts? I don't know. I think because my instincts are more real on the realistic side. If I were to trust my instincts, it would not go it would not go over well. So I actually personally, whenever I'm trying to do a bit more cartoonier style, I do not trust my instincts. I'm more of like, no, cannot trust those instincts, or else I'm gonna start pushing the characters to look more realistic, and it doesn't really work for that in a way. He looks really ready to rumble. If you won't trust your instincts, you must still trust the process. I guess that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta trust the process. Let's see. Very. Maybe we won't put the jacket there. I don't know. The jacket seems like it's a little out of place. So we won't include the jacket, just the baggy pants, and that'll be it. I think maybe I can move the leg over just like a little bit. She's calling her shot, you know. You know, in like baseball, when the batter kind of points to where they're gonna hit the ball to, that's what this feels like. It's like, I'm gonna hit the ball over there. I think that's it. Yeah, because the shoe, even the shoe design is very straightforward, so I don't really have much for it. Okay, so this is my character in trust the process. Yeah, notice the T thing. It's just a T overlap. Yeah, so you can see that I'm using it everywhere. Like literally, it's right here, over here. I'm using it here in the arm. Um, Sometimes it's a little bit more successful than other areas. The goal of also the T overlap is to make sure you don't have any like really bad tangent lines as well. That's kind of like another way that you can think of it. Oh, forgot about the pattern. Now, because it's more simplified, I'm just gonna make the pattern like just one white stripe. But yeah, I'm kind of trying to use it whenever I have the opportunity to, and whenever it's necessary. So like for folds, showing that the pants are on top of the shoes, like that's another opportunity for when I'm using it. But yeah, this is okay, so this is one style down. I forgot. What was the next one? Okay, I did see Ben 10. Ben 10's kind of hard. Ben 10's hard. But let's see. I think Ben 10 or Ben 10 and BTAS. Maybe we'll call it there. We'll do Ben 10 and then we'll do BTAS and then Samurai Jack. Okay. I'm more down to do Samurai Jack than BTAS. Okay, I don't know why. I just don't really want to tackle Ben 10. Ben 10 seems like I will I feel like I'm going to struggle a lot if I try to go for Ben 10, but let me see. I also feel like Ben 10's maybe a little bit stylistically too close. So I'm going to veto Ben 10. We're going to go for Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack's also going to be a little bit hard too, though, but we'll do our best. Let's put... Where's that? Where's the Aku drawing? Oh, sure. You can take that away too. Oh, I think it's that one. Okay. We'll do it. We'll do it here. I'm gonna use this, the daughter of Aku, as inspiration. I think that'll be sick. That'll be cool. Kind of use maybe like a similar body language. I'm gonna take this head angle here as a bit of like inspiration for it. Now, if you remember kind of the things that we talked about when it came to Samurai Jack, is that it's all shapes. It's the priority of form and shapes over anything else. So yeah, oh shoot, I just realized there's no ear. How come there's no ear on the character? That's so interesting. Okay. Okay, if we do have, yeah, Samurai Jack isn't cartoon. It is cartoony, but it is a little. It would be hard to pull off because I think it's like the style is very, it's very specific in a way. But yeah. Really large eyes. I don't know. I also don't know how well I'll be able to pull it off. We'll see. I might end up making the character look a little weird. I don't know. Because the eyes are kind of close to each other. Mm. See, what do they do for the nose? Oh, right, for her nose is just like these dots. I don't know if I would pull off the dots. I feel like it's so hard because it's literally just these nostril holes, and like every part of my instinct is just being like, no, do not draw like a face with just nostril holes. It does not look like everything that I've learned for like drawing is like do not draw with nostril holes, but that's kind of how it is, and that's hard to do. Again, we'll see how well we can pull this off. Let's see. Shapes. Let's see. How do I have the shape? Oh, hair comes. She needs a weapon? Oh, man. You need a weapon? Oh, man. That's gonna be tough. How am I gonna give her a weapon? Uh, Okay, also another thing that I like to check is the distribution of like how big is the head. So what I would do is I would check like is the halfway point, are they using the eyes, and like is it perfectly divided? So what that means is like here is the eyes, and it's clear that the upper half takes up way more space than the lower half. So when I draw my character, I want to make sure that I am keeping the same kind of, I guess, idea in mind. And so I'm going to raise the head shape just a little bit. And let's see, big brush here. Let's see, I think for the ears we'll just keep it like this. I don't know exactly how the ear shapes are in Samurai Jack. I guess I could look up what the other characters look like. Let me see. How did they draw Samurai Jack's ears? Oh, okay, they're like these little nubs. They're like these funny nub shapes. So, and there's no like ear inside line, so we'll keep it as that. I'm gonna be honest, I've not seen all of Samurai Jack. Oh, that's okay. Kind of like what I mentioned this actually before on stream. Maybe you missed it. It's not really a spoiler for the Daughters of Aku. It's more they honestly you could just jump into the last season, and so a little disclaimer: I've never seen Samurai Jack at all. I like know of it, and then when I saw that they were releasing or they were making a last season, honestly, I just kind of just jumped and watched the last season, and I was totally fine with it. Like it kind of worked. So I actually think it's kind of okay to not have seen the series before, because I did not watch the series before. So little confession, I have never seen it. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna do the whole like straighter on this side and then flatter on the other side. And I'm gonna make it chunkier at the bottom. And yeah, the feet also are like very tiny, so I don't know. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm still gonna make them chunky, but I'm gonna play around with the shape of the boots. And I don't know if I want to play with the lats in the same way that they did. I started about a month ago and then I actually got hooked in catching up with Pokemon Horizons. Oh, is it good? I don't know. I also know nothing about Pokemon. You're talking to the residential guy on the Wing Canvas team that knows nothing about Pokemon. uh, oh man, the arms are real thin. That's an interesting look for a character. That's a Jesse thing for Pokemon. Wait, is Iggy not a Pokemon guy either? I thought I was the only non-Pokemon Pokemon person. A weapon. Well, Kevin, why do I gotta give her a weapon now? There's, there's so much work. Okay, the hard part about this is figuring out the position of the body. Something like that. I think the body might be a bit too pushed. I'm just gonna scoot it over, maybe. Let's see. Could also be like the big shape. Doesn't really quite work for this style. It's a little bit harder. Iggy knows Pokemon. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who's not a Pokemon person, but that's that's how I remember it. When it's compared to like everybody else, I am the non-Pokemon person on the team. I don't know about or maybe even Jaron if Jaron knows about Pokemon, but yeah, I am not the Pokemon guru here. Far from Pokemon knowing anything about Pokemon. Okay, this one turned out pretty sick. I think this one's pretty neat. I too know not much about Pokemon. Aren't you into Digimon? No, okay. I think what it was like out of all of them, I think Digimon's cooler, but I also don't know that much about Digimon, or yeah. So I am a fraud. But no, yeah, I don't really know too much about about them. I just think Digimon's cooler, so that's why we did a drawing for Digimon, or like we did it for me. But even then, I know nothing about Digimon. Let's go with these shapes here. I think with Samurai Jack's style, it's definitely more, I guess, beneficial, you could say, to have the hair and the style be very like sharp and distinct, but also to have the forms be, or like have the darks be really dark. So that's why for this one I'm gonna color it in, because I do think with Samurai Jack style it's kind of important to have a very heavy when let the blacks be really heavy and noticeable. I'm just gonna draw them in. Hopefully I have enough time for like one more, but honestly, I do not know if we'll have that time. Let's see, the other eye. Oh, that's so hard. What would the other eye be drawn? Did they draw the other side? Dang, they draw the other side. That makes it even. I feel like that makes it even harder. The fact that they draw the like under eye as well. I'm not gonna draw the under eye because that makes it even harder. Oh, and the nose is really high up. Oh, dang. Okay, so I definitely messed up the way to approach the proportions because oh, it is. It's tricky. I mean, that's kind of what I did say when we observed the Samurai Jack style, where I was like, it is going to be hard getting like a simplified style down because there's a lot of rules that end up getting broken, and I would say that a big part of doing a stylized study that is opposite from your own is to kind of start observing what are the rules that they're breaking and how are they breaking them. Definitely don't think I caught like it exactly like Samurai Jack because it's kind of hard to wing it in the moment, but I would say that this is like probably as close as I'd be able to get it in the moment. Draw the under eye. the oh, honestly, that'd be so cool to look at. I would love to see what the Samurai Jack design Bible would say. It's like it's gotta be more like this. It's gotta be more like that. Don't worry, Quinn. I did it. I did it. I didn't chicken out on the shape. Add them in. So this is me making it clear where the positive and negative shapes are with the outside of the torso, and then using the hair as like to my advantage with like where to put the shapes. Again, it's it's as best as I can do it, but yeah, that's kind of how I'm trying to figure or solve the issue of like where would I put those shapes and how would they be used. Yeah, anybody have a good answer for B? Eye shapes are interesting, and I think it's even more interesting if you take a look into like stylized eyes. It's definitely different for the styles that you go for. Every style and series is going to have a bit of a different approach to how to draw draw eyes, but yeah, if anybody has any recommendations, be kind of cool to see what are some people's tips for drawing eyes. Typically for me, I try to look at it as like based on shapes, and try to capture the direction of the eye that it's looking in. There's obviously a lot of technical qualities that can come with drawing eyes, but yeah. This is my poor attempt at trying to draw in the Samurai Jack style. I did my best. This is as best as I can get for the Samurai Jack style. It is hard in the Samurai Jack style to nail down on like a blind go. It's tough. Okay, that's. Oh, I'll color in the pants too. Or yeah, color it in. And then I think we have a little bit of time left for like one more. You know, maybe for this one I'll color it in gray. Go with the lighter color, just so that it's like distinct and separate. We got a gray shirt variant, basically, of the character. Shape, yeah. I think having a kind of a style that you want to aim for can definitely help, because there's so many different approaches to hair design that having kind of a trajectory to aim for can definitely help. Like manga and Disney is definitely like a big one for me as well. So when I'm drawing eyes, those are kind of some things that I'm aiming for when I'm drawing eyes. Kind of like that big shape, but then I'm always trying to find a way to make it angular, trying to make it a bit more simplified and graphic in a way. So when I say graphic, I know some people bring this up sometimes, like, whoa, what do you mean graphic, like violent? Like, no, graphic in terms of like just shape language, more geometrical, more like planes and lines and shapes, more of that focus. Ooh, yeah, I had a feeling like we have an eye video. Yeah, we got one from Jesse, which probably would be very, very useful. Jesse's really good at drawing really big, expressive eyes. So yeah. Okay, this is my attempt at the Samurai Jack style. It's it could be better, but you know, I would say considering this is my first attempt at it, it's not too bad. It's okay. It's not too bad, not too bad. I'm not gonna say it's like the best interpretation of it, but I think I'm too clean with trying to make everything like clean. So it's a little bit hard for me. It's hard to capture a style like Samurai Jack because of how clean everything is. But I'd say this is like a decent attempt at it, I'd say. So let's line these. Let's line these up. We got my character from that, and then we got it's so funny looking at the Codename Kids one right now. Oh my goodness, that's jokes. Oh my, that's funny. I'm definitely gonna take the time to maybe color in the Codename Kids version, but that is so funny seeing all three styles lined up. Okay, we got time for one more. For the BTAS style. We might go over time, but I'm actually down to go a little bit over time, just to, yeah. What are they pointing at? It's all, it's like a K-pop group, a K-pop collection of all different styles. Okay. One. Okay, so on the side, I have like a drawing of poison ivy. Like I had like a like I found a picture that he did and I was like, oh, this is really cool. So I'm just gonna use this as a guide on the side. And yeah, because I think I don't have any space to kind of extract one out for the BTAS one. K-pop. Oh, also, I highly recommend people go watch the movie. What is it? What is it? K-pop Demon Hunters. Yo, K-pop Demon Hunters was pretty good. Not too bad. It's a little corny, but it was like a fun movie, and the songs are pretty good. So, yeah. Yo, yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters. Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. Okay, this one we might take a little bit of time, because Bruce Timm kind of draws in a semi-grounded approach, but then he simplifies things into like these big graphic shapes. So I'm gonna try to, you know, channel in, the Bruce Timm spirit into these drawings. Okay, he does kind of like the classic ear, like the cartoony ear that I think a lot of people are familiar with. Whoops. Yeah, just a simple form, nothing too over the top. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Just gonna have the ear. Oh, also I have my head rotated in the wrong direction. Whoops. In a way, I kind of already drew it like this, but so maybe it won't be too bad, but we'll see. I think the hard part for Bruce Timm's style is that he has this somewhat these rounded eye shapes. They're sometimes a little bit hard for me to kind of nail. And then he has these really big lips. Eyebrows. He draws eyebrows thin with not really much line weight to them for at least the female characters, from what I'm noticing. Very simplified nose. He doesn't go crazy with the nose, but he has very kind of distinct shapes for the lips, but doesn't go heavy on the nose shape. So that's something to just keep in mind for anyone who's trying to go for the Bruce Timm style. Ear, again, like we saw, very simple shape. Also, I think he doesn't really go. He kind of has thick neck, but he doesn't go super, super thick. So he still kind of relies on general, just like, yeah, more realistic body proportions, but he kind of finds ways to push and pull them. Yeah. But I've already seen too many spoilers. Oh no! I would say, yeah. If anyone's gonna check out the movie, don't look anything up. Just kind of go in, watching it, because there is a pretty cool like reveal, I guess, that I didn't even know about until I watched it, and I was like, wait, that's kind of neat. But yeah. Oh, also a big thing about Bruce Timm is that he draws with very big head, like hair shapes for his characters. So going like for the hair, definitely I want this big swooping curve shape. Big swooping curve. It's like semi organic and semi kind of angular as well. um and then he has like the eyelashes that kind of come out, which is kind of neat. It reminds me a little bit of like the Jetsons in a way, in terms of like the hair designs and whatnot. So it's kind of neat. But everything is like simplified as well. does a really good job of making sure like the head is not overly complex. It's like it's this perfect balance of like detailed but not too detailed. Just enough information that you understand what is the form that's happening, but not too much that it's too detailed. If that makes any sense. If it doesn't make any sense, I highly do recommend like maybe check out like try drawing in the Bruce Timm style, and you might kind of get an understanding of what I'm talking about, because it's a little bit hard to convey exactly what's kind of interesting or I guess unique about his drawing approach until you like kind of try drawing it for yourself. And very similar to, in a way, Samurai Jack, he does these very narrow waist, but very like and exaggerated angles in the torso, and he's all about the hips. I would say that if you ever look at how Bruce Timm draws, he emphasizes the hips a lot. Sailor Moon vibes. Oh yeah, a lot of people have been saying they get a lot of Totally Spies vibes from the trailers, and then I would like definitely it's there like that camaraderie with the group of friends and everything. It's like and like just how kind of fun the friend group seems. It's like it's there. Hit Bruce Timm's hips don't lie. Yeah, they do not. They do not lie. Let's see. Okay, he also kind of draws hands with that a bit more of that dainty feel. Oh, he does do these like kind of forearm shapes. So he doesn't go all tube and everything. He does change up the forearm shape. So I made it too long, but he I did want to kind of just like see how far I could push the forearm shapes. Fortunately, I don't know if I'd be able to fully capture the Bruce Timm kind of approach, because he loves playing around with like these straights and then curves. So if you go here, if I show you kind of like the image that I'm referring to, he loves doing these very straight with like a subtle curve, but mostly straight, and then contrast them with a lot of curves. And then he loves doing that on the other side, the opposing side. So it's kind of neat. But the problem with that is that it's kind of hard to do that if my character is wearing like boots, or not boots, baggy pants. But what I'm gonna try to do is maybe imply it based on like the leg movement underneath. So like I'm just gonna try to capture it now, even though we're probably not really gonna see it. Oh yeah, so next week we do not have any streams. So if you were here during like the beginning of the stream, I kind of talked about it a little bit, that we do not have any stream because it's going to be Canada Day for us. And so we're off that week. Not going to have anything. So yeah, today is kind of the last stream for the spring season, and then we're in summer, and then we're gonna have a new challenge for the month. We're gonna have yeah, new challenge for the month, and it's gonna be summer. Man, today was hot. I don't know how it is for you guys in like wherever you are, but my goodness, today and yesterday was bad. Oh, I thought I'd be able to handle it, but I could not. It was pretty bad. Okay, you know what? In order to kind of allow for the James Jean, or not the James Jean, the Bruce Tim hips, I'm going to cheat, not cheat, but I'm gonna kind of um, try to see if I can find ways to accentuate like the hips a little bit more for the Bruce Tim style. Okay, I think that's not too bad. That looks okay for like a for Bruce Tim style. Ooh, yeah, that would have been a good one. Next time. Next time. Um yeah, heat warnings everywhere. It's kind of funny cuz we were like, "Oh, you know what? It's not that bad cuz we were supposed to play like I'm part of like a softball team this summer, and I was like, we don't need to cancel it. It's okay. We can handle it." And our team put out a vote kind of being like, okay, who is okay to play in this heat? And like 15 of us were like, yeah, yeah, it's okay. So we personally did not decide to cancel it. But then the league overruled, and then they're like, you know what? For the safety of everyone, all the games are canceled due to the heat warning. And we're like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. And then I went out to walk my dog on Sunday, and I was like, yeah, it's a good thing they cancel it. My goodness, would not have been able to handle the heat. The heat was bad. Mm, volleyball? Okay, not volleyball. No, volleyball in the sun would have been also disgusting. I would not have wanted to play volleyball either in that heat. I can't imagine playing volleyball in that temperature. That was yesterday. I hear Montreal has it even worse. I heard that Montreal's temperature is supposed to feel like, was it the desert in California? I forgot what it's called. That desert in California, but apparently it's like the same. It's like this. It's hotter than that desert. I think it's called Death Valley in California, but yeah, it's apparently pretty bad in Montreal right now. Yeah, Death Valley. Yeah. Would have been Heat Stroke speedrun. Yeah, yeah, it's a good thing they canceled it. You know what it was too is that the heat is okay. Not that I would say it's okay. It's bearable, the heat outside. The problem I would say is actually it's the sun. When the sun is just beating down on you, it was pretty bad. It was pretty unbearable. So like when I was walking my dog and like the sun was just like coming down, I was like, "Ooh, this is not good." It's supposed to be 36. Wait, 36. Oh, you're saying Celsius. Yo, man, yeah, that doesn't sound great. I would not like to be in like 30, like we're already experiencing it, and I'm just like, oh man, 36 is terrible. I don't understand how people in Florida can handle this kind of weather, because I'm just like, dude, it's so bad. How are you guys how are you guys handling this kind of weather? It's terrible. Also, hopefully this kind of looks a little bit like Bruce Timm style. I feel like I'm doing not too bad in capturing it. The eye, honestly, is the eyes and the eyes and the face shape is kind of like one of the hardest things to capture from him. But I would say I feel like I did a pretty good job of getting it down. I don't know if it looks weird or not because again, this sometimes this kind of style, I tend to like overthink it sometimes. I see it in the face. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, here like Florida, this is normal. I'm just like, why? You know what always blows my kind of shower thoughts in a way is always like, how did people back then? I mean, I think I kind of know the answer. It's just that the temperature was never like this before. But my question was always like, back then, you know, when people settled in the States, why did they think like being in the desert would be a good idea? You know, like I've always wondered like who was like, yeah, let's settle in the desert, guys, where it's like hot and there's no water. Yeah, there's gold, but it's like, but why? You know, that's what I've always is wondered. Is just like, okay, yeah, Las Vegas is a thing, but who decided that this was a good idea? That let's make one of the world, or I guess North America's biggest attraction, be in the desert, and there's no water anywhere. We gotta ship the water in. It's extremely hot and uncomfortable, but let's do it. I know the obvious answer is money, but it's just like, why, guys? I don't know. Because like even here in Toronto, I would say like the weather in the summer gets like to a pretty bearable, you know, amount. I would say, but and then you think is like, oh, but it can get hotter than this. And it's just like, why? Why would you do that? And yeah, I know, obvious answer, it's money. It's like that's is like probably for like mining reasons, you know, gold during the gold rush era. People were like, oh yeah, I gotta do it for the gold and everything. But my goodness, because it was free land. Yep, okay, but still, free land. But why the desert? You know, like it's well, you know what? In the end, I guess it ended up working out because everything's just in the desert. Everything's in the heat. Like you think of places like California and Las Vegas, it's all in the heat. But I'm just wondering why. Why did it have to be in the heat? You know, couldn't have been anywhere else. Free land, yeah, quote unquote free land, I guess. Okay, this last part, I'm just kind of making it up. I'm not too sure what the best way to really approach the pants would be, especially in the Bruce Timm style. Not exactly sure the visual Bible language of what it would be in the Bruce Timm visual Bible, what it would be, but if I were to take a guess, maybe something like this, but I don't know. Kind of hard to exactly pinpoint it down since don't know, but you know, this is my jab at it. Okay, we finally made it. Made it to the end. And I am excited to see all of these put next to each other because they are so different. It's kind of funny seeing them all placed together. I think it's kind of neat. I guess we'll put in the shoelace. I don't know if they would have drawn the shoelaces back in the day for shoes, but we'll just do it. Okay, so there it is. There's my final version. Isn't Dubai built on sand? Okay, yeah, exactly. Like Dubai. Okay, but Dubai, yeah, it's gold. They're on gold land too, you know, oil gold. But yeah, that's why you don't live in the desert, Josh. That's true. I don't understand it. I don't understand why anyone would want to live in the desert. But and I remember they would wear hoodies in the sun. Oh my goodness, there were people wearing hoodies and jeans and like cargo pants yesterday, and I was like, just why? Why would you do that? It's so hot. I don't understand. But with that being said, let's see. I don't think I'll have enough space. Let's increase the canvas just by a bit and save. Please don't crash on me. And let's bring out the girls. Okay. The codename one cracks me up. It's just it's so it's so out of place, but I like it. It's funny. Oh my goodness. It's jokes. I love it. It's funny. It's it does not match the other ones at all, but it's there. Oh my goodness. Okay. No, Quinn, why would you do that? Wear hoodies. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here it is. Here are 3 different styles based on the styles that we kind of talked about during the stream. So we got my original version, the one over here that I drew, yes, on like Thursday. Then we got the Codename Kids Next Door one, and I try to implement the proportion aspect of it as well. Like Codename Kids, usually a bit more chunkier. Things are like bigger, and like the head takes up much more of the real estate. Thank you, Quinn. And then you have Samurai Jack, which I feel like when I looked at the proportions for Samurai Jack, like the Daughter of Aku design, the body was quite long. Like, yes, the legs are still long, but I feel like they feel longer than they actually are because of how tapered and thin they are. And the torso was actually quite long, I feel like. And then you got the Bruce Timm, which definitely the legs are longer and the face is smaller so that you can kind of accentuate the hips a little bit more, and just the curvature and the length of the body. So yeah, try to translate all of those things to the different styles as best as I could, and this is what we have. So thank you everybody for joining us. Yes, we went over time just a little bit, but that allowed us to kind of draw this. I think once the stream is done, I'm just gonna color them in so they look a little bit more uniform. But yeah, thank you all for joining us, and as you know, just gonna read out the closing statements, and that'll be end of stream. So thank you everybody for joining the stream. My name is Josh, and I'm one of the instructors here at Winged Canvas. I teach animation, illustration, and the drawing and painting classes, but those classes are going to get shuffled around a little bit for the summer in preparation for our summer intensive classes. So if you're you have some free time and you want to improve your drawing skills, check out my character design camp, which is coming in first in July, let me see, I believe it's 7th. Yes, July 7th. And then in the following, weeks, there's animation camp, and there's traditional illustration as well as digital and traditional illustration. So if any of those sound good to you and you want to kind of sharpen up your character designing skills or learn about animation or practice some traditional painting or just in general illustration compositional skills, check out our summer intensives. But if you're new here and this is your first time joining us and you don't know who we are at Wing Canvas, we here at Wing... Whoops, I need to bring this. Give me a sec. I need to shorten this. Should have shortened this a bit earlier. Oh, I can't minimize that. Okay. Yeah, so if you guys this is your first time joining us, and you don't know who we are at Wing Canvas, we at Wing Canvas, our mission is to make art education easily accessible to everyone. So join us for free live stream lessons every week, because we're not just a YouTube channel, we're an online school of illustration, helping art nerds turn their passion into income. And also shout out to our amazing students and members for supporting our mission. We love seeing your incredible artwork and watching your skills improve in our classes and weekly critiques. If you're an art nerd, be sure to check out our Discord, where you can find our notes and artwork from streams, as well as art challenges and other resources to help you improve as an artist. And like I said before, the stream is sponsored, and so we'd like to thank our sponsor for the stream, XPPen, who have an awesome selection of digital art tablets for both beginner and advanced artists. If you're looking for an affordable and reliable digital tablet, go browse their store. You'll find the link in the description below. So again, thank you XPPen for sponsoring this stream. And thank all of you guys for joining the stream. Hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys learned a little bit about how to kind of analyze art styles and analyze different kind of shape languages and character designing elements. And hopefully by kind of doing this demonstration for you guys can kind of see what it's like to extract certain styles from different shows and kind of apply it to your own characters. And there's a lot that you can learn from studying different styles too. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy this. Have a good night and stay hydrated, I guess, since it's so hot out there. Apparently I need a closing phrase. I have not come up with one, but I feel like usually I just say have a good weekend. Have a good week. Have a good weekend. I was thinking about adopting actually the Truman Show line, which is like what? I don't even know what it is, like good night if I don't see you, good afternoon, good night, or good day or something that he says. We'll workshop it for the next time. But yeah, we're off the next week, so I guess I don't know, but I was gonna say enjoy your break, but it's not like we're in school or anything. But yes, we are off, and then the summer season starts. So yeah, good morning. Yes, there it is. Good morning in case I don't see you. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I feel like, I feel like I'm missing one. He says good evening. Okay. Oh, and also, if no one's watched The Truman Show, go watch The Truman Show. Go treat yourself to an amazing movie. Truman Show is so good. Okay, everybody. Goodbye. Good night. Bye-bye.